Friends, this was a massive problem. Mary goes, and again, that's why we believe she had a part in this wedding, because she's like, there's no more wine. And look how Jesus responded to her. Verse 4. No problem, Mom. I'll take care of it for you. Is that what Jesus said to her? Woman, underline that. Why do you involve me? I would underline that as well. Jesus replied, my hour. You know, the hour where he would be glorified, the hour for which he came, his death and resurrection. He said, my hour has not yet come. Woman, why do you involve me? Stop. Whoa, it kind of sounds like Jesus was being mean to Mom, right? Let's understand what he was saying in the Greek. In the Greek, this is literally what he's saying. What to me and to you, woman? Now you guys are going, wait a second, Andrew. I don't understand what he's saying there. Well, let me try to explain. Well, number one, he called her a woman. Now understand, that is a polite but not intimate way of referring to her. It's kind of like saying ma'am. And just hop over to chapter 4. I'll give you an example. Remember, we saw that Jesus eventually was going to end up in Samaria to save a Samaritan woman. Look at verse 21. Look what he called her. Woman. Same thing. Believe me, a time is coming when you will worship the Father neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. Saying that the true worshipers will worship in spirit and in truth. You see what Jesus called this Samaritan woman? What did he call her? Woman. Same thing he had called his mother Mary in chapter 2, verse 4, woman. So we see that when Jesus called her woman, it was polite, but it wasn't very intimate. Like saying, Mom. He said, ma'am. And then he said to her, what to me and to you? This was stern. But it was not disrespectful. In fact, I'll just give you an example. Just keep your finger. Hop over to Luke chapter 2. You guys remember the story when Jesus was 12 in Jerusalem? And Mary and Joseph, after celebrating the festival there with Jesus in Jerusalem, they ended up going in the caravan, going back up to Nazareth, and then they discovered when they're on the trip, Jesus isn't with them. Remember, they returned back to Jerusalem and found Jesus in the temple teaching. And look what they said, verse 48 of chapter 2. When his parents, that would be Mary and Joseph, saw him, they were astonished. His mother said to him, Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been anxiously searching for you. Jesus asked, why were you searching for me? Now watch. Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house? Do you see? Do you see what Jesus was doing there? At the age of 12, watch me. He was stern with her at the age of 12, not disrespectful. He was starting to create some distance. Wait a second. I thought Jesus loved his mother. In starting to create distance, he was showing his love for his mother. Why? Remember in chapter 2? After Jesus had been born and presented at the temple, there was an old man by the name of Simeon who had been waiting for the Messiah. You look at verse 34, what he said. Simeon blessed them, Mary and Joseph, and said to Mary, this child is destined, talking about Jesus, to cause the falling and rising of many in Israel. Rising to salvation, falling to judgment. And he will be a sign that will be spoken against. People will be against him. So that the thoughts of many hearts will be revealed. And watch what Simeon said about Mary. And a sword will pierce your own soul too. What was the sword that pierced Mary? Remember when she was there at the foot of the cross, when Jesus was on the cross. And Jesus had to make final arrangements for her. You think that was a pretty big sword that went into her soul? Watching her beloved son, knowing that he's the Messiah, but nevertheless, her beloved son, who she had been given the privilege to carry for 9 months, been given the privilege to raise, and watching that happen to him. Not only that, but all the way up to that, the sword. And here when Jesus was 12, he said to his mother, when she said, didn't you know your father and I were looking for you? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Didn't you know that I had to be about my Father's business? I needed to be in my Father's house. Distance, but he was protecting her. And then we see another example in chapter 2 of John, our story we've been studying, when he said to her, woman, polite, but not intimate. What to me and to you? In other words, what does this have to do with you? And why are you involving me? He was creating more distance. Not out of disrespect, but out of love for her, because he was just starting his earthly ministry, and he knew exactly the swords that were going to pierce her soul until the big one when he was on the cross. He was protecting Mary and her emotions. Do you see the love of Christ, the care of Christ for Mary? Do we exalt Mary and worship her? No. Do we respect Mary and thank God for her? Yes. John chapter 2, the problem. Hopefully you understand it now. Verse 3, when the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, they have no more wine. Woman, polite, but not intimate. Ma'am, what to you and to me? Why are you involving me in this? Creating some stern. But there's another reason. John MacArthur, I love this. Jesus' public ministry had begun, right? And earthly relationships would not determine his actions. My hour has not yet come. Though he loved Mary, Mary was not running the show on Jesus' timetable. Mary was now to relate to him no longer as her son, that she had raised there in Nazareth, but as her Messiah, as the Son of